Fresno Pacific athletics have been innumerable, both as a coach and an administrator. A native of Reedley, California, Janzen began in 1983 as head coach of both the volleyball and women's basketball teams, leading both programs to national success. In 4 seasons as the head women's basketball coach, Janzen took the program from its first year of NAIA competition in 1983 to a GSAC championship in 1987, the program's first national ranking and a Sweet 16 NAIA national tournament finish. He coached the program's first ever All-Americans and scholar athletes and posted a 28-3 record in his final season, still a program best. Janzen's responsibilities shifted solely to volleyball in 1988, and in 1989, the Sunbirds won the school's first ever team national championship. By the end of his FPU coaching career in 2010, Janzen guided the Sunbirds to 26 consecutive winning seasons, capped off by a final 10-year run as the winningest college volleyball team at any level, with an incredible 373 wins and only 18 losses. Under Janzen, the Sunbirds tallied 17 Golden State Athletic Conference championships, 13 NAIA National Final Four finishes, and 2 NAIA National runner-up finishes to go with the 6 NAIA National Championships, and a career record of 867 wins and 168 losses. His last 20 teams all appeared in the national tournament. He has the 3rd highest winning percentage in NAIA volleyball history, is the winningest volleyball coach in GSAC history, and is the winningest coach in GSAC history in any sport. Under Janzen, Sunbird volleyball produced 92 all GSAC players, 64 NAIA All-Americans, 34 of them first team, 26 NAIA scholar athletes, 11 GSAC Players of the Year, and 3 NAIA National Players of the Year, all while graduating as players at a rate of more than 95%. He also guided the team to a 122-match home winning streak, 65 straight wins overall, 69 straight GSAC wins, and from 2007 to 2010, an incredible 91-match regular season winning streak. Janzen's teams went 322-32 in GSAC play, an 11-time GSAC Coach of the Year, 4-time ABCA NAIA National Coach of the Year. Janzen also assisted in the training of the 1992 USA Men's Volleyball Olympic Team. In 2004, Janzen became FPU's Director of Athletics. He has helped Fresno Pacific become one of the nation's premier mid-sized universities athletic programs as measured by numerous top 5 annual finishes in the NACDA Directors Cup. In 2011, Janzen played a significant role in FPU's acceptance into NC2A membership. Janzen was inducted into the NAIA Hall of Fame in 2003 and the Fresno Athletic Hall of Fame in 2010. He is married to wife Jean and has 2 children, Michael and Anne Marie. He states in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." It is with great respect and admiration that we bestow upon you, Dennis Janzen, Fresno Pacific's highest athletic honor, induction into the Fresno Pacific Athletics Hall of Fame. In the coach category, congratulations.
Thanks, Tom. He's a good friend, and we've known each other for a long time in a lot of ways. I'm very grateful to a lot of people. And this year is actually, it's a year of transition in a lot of ways. This is the first time in 36 years I'm not coaching anybody. And yet, I'm busier than ever in the coaching world. And I think that's a blessing. For FPU and the NCAA, it's exciting. It's a lot of work. It's different think that's what drives us. And, we think about this place, and tonight's a fitting way to do this. Think about this place 30 years ago, and where it is now. And where's it going to be 30 years from now if this keeps going? So, I've often encouraged kids, dream dreams that are big enough to fail. And I think we've been able to do some of that. There's some thank yous. A lot of people over the years. Hall of Fame committee. I got an email from Rustich, and it was a simple email. It's kind of like Mike is a little bit, kind of straight to the point, and it said I was being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know how exactly he said something to the effect, and that's the way it is. You can't change that. I rarely have ever questioned Mike, so thank you. I have to thank Merrill Ewert, President Merrill Ewert. He's out of country right now. His wife Priscilla is here, and she's an incredible Sunbird fan. Even while I'd be busy coaching over here, every once in a while I've noticed Priscilla in the crowd. You gotta do a lot. There's a lot of people here. Assistant coaches, I would be absolutely remiss. Todd Nord, Todd, stand please. This guy was with me for 20 years. What he does, and Tom has been around the best in the game. And I've been fortunate enough, even from a small place like a Reedley and a Fresno Pacific, I've been very fortunate to be around the absolute best in the game. And I think Todd, and what he does, is the best in the game. And I was fortunate to have him with me for 20 years. Tom is the best at what he does. He's the best blocking coach in the country. And the key, and all of you who coach or whatever you do, the key is to surround yourself with the best people you can. And they make you look good. I had Todd, I had Tom, I had Kelly is developing and will be one of the finest volleyball coaches in the country. I'll say that publicly. I like what she does. Mind you, I taught a bunch of it, but I like the way she does it. She's developing her own unique style. A lot of miles, a lot of memories, and there's Stan Anderson right there. We'd be here a long time to tell some of the stories, but I think Stan was with us back in the formative years. He was in Hawaii when that first national title happened. He was part of the dog pile, and he's traveled a lot of places with us and has been an important part of who we are. And I've enjoyed that. Now, family and friends, some special thank yous. My wife, Jean, right here. My son, Mike, and daughter, Anne Marie. To be the wife or to be the spouse of a coach is not easy. And she has done it as well as anybody. She's been to a lot of games. She's never coached, and yet we drive home and she knew exactly what was going on. Great critique. Why did you leave so-and-so in so long? Why don't you play so-and-so? You should have called the timeout there. And yet at the same time, she made me feel like I was the best in the world at what I did. And that was important. She was always there for me. The players over the years, gosh, it's hard to, where do you start with all the players for this long? The memories and the moments of kids who bought into an idea and took an idea so many times to levels that I never thought anybody could. And they in turn then turn around and they inspire you to another level. We just kept inspiring each other over the years to finally finish pretty good. The career finished okay in terms of the winning and the losing, and at the same time, the greatest teachers that I've ever had were, and I just said, I've been around some of the best in the game. You know, sat in rooms and debated things with some of the best volleyball minds in the game. I learned more from the players than I did anybody else. And I'm eternally grateful for them allowing me, us, to do things that we did. Role models. I think coaches coach the way they were coached. Coaches tend to coach the way they were coached. I got to be around some of the absolute best in business in these small places that I stopped. My very first coach was my dad. And he taught me, I think, a lot of things that I still say today and I still do today. And he taught me probably more than anything else that even though there may be people out there who tell you you can't do something, if it's what you want to do, and you want to do it badly enough, you'll not only do it, but you'll do it well. Whatever you do well. And I sat in a guidance counselor's, I'd always wanted to coach, I knew that. And I sat in a guidance counselor's office, I was a freshman in college, and he says, and he knew me, and he knew my dad, and he knew my family and stuff, and he said, well, what do you want to do? You know, he's supposed to figure out what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. I said, I want to coach. And this person was a coach. Okay? You know what he told me? I'll never forget those. I never forget what he said. He said, Dennis, you don't want to do that. I don't think you'll ever be any good at it. And you know what? I was dumb enough and young enough at that point to actually believe him until 2 years later, I'm flirting with who eventually will be my wife. Okay, I'm in the lobby, student center at Tabor College. I'm flirting with G. Okay, she'd just broken up with a teammate of mine and I was moving in. and Dr. Del Reimer, who had been my coach, he was my coach for 2 sports and probably the most influential coach I ever played for, and was around and got to assist. He asked me to assist. Tapped me on the shoulder and said, I need to talk to you. I was captain of the team, and if you get tapped on the shoulder, you go to Dr. Reimer's office. We didn't call him coach, it was Dr. Reimer. You go to his office, he closes the door, it's like, oh man, you're gonna be here a while. I don't know what was going on. He says, had you ever thought about coaching? I said, yeah, I had. He says, I think you'd be really good at it. I would like for you to, I said, well, I'm here for 1 year, and then I'm going to transfer to USC, and I'm going to become an architect. You know, Dennis, and he talked me out of it, and the rest is history. I really don't. I don't think I talk too much, Tom. I used to talk too much, but I got better and better. He had a signal, something like, that was literally in practice, oh yeah, okay. Because I often say I think coaches talk too much. The other thing that I learned from a good friend, coach, players will do what you train them to do. And if you unpack that and you think about what that means as a coach-athlete relationship, I unpacked it in a way that suggested to me that if a player went out and made a mistake or didn't do what we asked them to do, it wasn't their fault, it was my fault. I hadn't taught that person well enough. And it was amazing how, when I began to understand that and make that connect, how that changed the relationship, the player-coach relationship. It's about trust, relationship, commitment. In that order, one builds on the other. And I hope that I have been able to model and do some of those things for the players and for the coaches who I've been around. I had a prayer, and I always a prayer. And this is confession time in some ways. I only said it before big matches, which is wrong. We know what our relationship with God should be. But I would say, Lord, help me to be what they need me to be. I would say that prayer before matches, big matches. Well, that's my prayer. I hope for the 36 years that I have in some way to those student athletes been what they need me to be. Thank you very much. I'm very honored, and congratulations to each of the other 4 inductees.